Myself, M. Gunakar, Assistant Professor of Zoology, Government Degree College, Siddipet, Telangana. Today, let us discuss prawn nervous system. Before going into the details, we shall discuss now the prawn systematic position. Prawn belongs to the phylum Arthropoda because of jointed legs. Prawn belongs to the subphylum Mandibulata, presence of mandibles. It belongs to the class Crustacea because the presence of gills as the respiratory organs. It belongs to Malacostraca. The body is divided into many segments, and it belongs to the order Decapoda because of the 5 pairs of walking legs. It belongs to the family Palimonidae because of having the compound eyes which are attached to the body through the stalks, and it belongs to the genus Palimon and species Malcolmsoni. Now, the Palimon malcolmsoni, otherwise called as Macrobrachium malcolmsoni. Now, coming to the nervous system, prawn nervous system can be regarded as annelidan type. Annelidan type. What does it mean? We all know that the prawns, not only the prawns, arthropods, they evolved from the annelidan ancestors. So generally, the pattern of the nervous system or in any other systems, they generally follow the annelidan type mostly. So in the same way, nervous system of prawn is of annelidan type. It means the pattern of the nervous system in prawn is same that of the earthworm, or which belongs to the annelida. Prawn nervous system mainly consists of 3 parts: central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, and autonomic nervous system, otherwise called as sympathetic nervous system. Central nervous system is includes brain, or it is also called supraesophageal ganglia. A pair of supraesophageal ganglia, named so because ganglia lying on the esophagus dorsally, and plus circumesophageal commissures. Circumesophageal commissures means there are 2 commissures. They are starting from the brain or supraesophageal ganglia and encircling the esophagus. So that's why they are called circumesophageal commissures. And one ventral nerve cord. So these 3 parts make the central nervous system of the prawn. What are they? Brain or supraesophageal ganglia, pair of supraesophageal ganglia, then circumesophageal commissures, and one ventral nerve cord. All these make up central nervous system of prawn. Now, coming to the peripheral nervous system. Peripheral nervous system, the name itself indicates it comprises the nerves which are arising from the central nervous system. That means peripheral nervous system is formed by those nerves which are arising from the central nervous system or the parts of the central nervous system, and they are going to supply different organs of the body. So all the nerves which are arising from the central nervous system and innervating various body parts are included under peripheral nervous system, otherwise called as PNS. Now coming to the sympathetic nervous system or autonomic nervous system. The name itself indicates it is autonomic nervous system. That means some type of autonomy exists in this nervous system, though if out of control, it will come under control of the central nervous system only. Now it comprises a small or a pair of ganglia which are called as visceral or esophageal ganglia. These comprise the autonomic nervous system, otherwise called as sympathetic nervous system. Next, now let's start with the central nervous system. As we discussed earlier, central nervous system is made up of mainly 3 parts: brain, supraphageal ganglia, supraesophageal ganglia, and circumesophageal connectives and ventral nerve cord. First part of the central nervous system is brain. Now the brain are a pair of supraesophageal ganglia. Now you can see here in this figure, it is located in front of the head region, just beneath the base of rostrum, and it is also at the anterior to the little bit anterior to the esophagus, at the base of the rostrum, in front of the head region. A pair of supraesophageal ganglia are present, which are otherwise called as brain, and its shape is bilobed structure, and which derived from fusion of several ganglia. So many ganglia fuse to form this type of a mass of ganglia, and these are called supraesophageal ganglia, and a pair of supraesophageal ganglia otherwise called as brain. Now let us have a look at this figure. So here easily you can see this is the brain of Palemon or prawn. So where this is the dorsal view and this is the ventral view. Now you can have a look at this. See, these are the two ganglions. This is one ganglion and this is another ganglion. Otherwise, on both dorsal view and ventral view we can clearly see. And it is a mass of tissue, a white fatty tissue surrounds these two ganglia, and this and you can see this brain or supraesophageal ganglia, it is present above the esophagus. That's why it is called supraesophageal ganglia. And then many nerves are coming out, and what are those nerves? Let us discuss in the next slide. Here just now we were discussing the brain or supraesophageal ganglia, and those we just now discussed a fatty tissue surrounds the two ganglia, and it is a white fatty tissue, and it is just present just below the in the head region, just below the just in front of the esophagus. Now coming to the what are the nerves that are arising from the brain? There are totally 5 types of nerves are coming out of the brain. They are antennulary nerves, a pair of antennulary nerves to the antennules, and one branch arises from antennule nerve, that is called statocystic nerve, which supply or which innervates the statocyst. Then optic nerves, they are also one pair, to compound eyes, and ophthalmic nerves are also one pair, they supply to the eye stalks. And then antennary nerves, one pair to the antenna, and tegumental nerves, this is single, not a pair, it supplies or it innervates to the labrum, otherwise called as upper lip. So these are the nerves which are coming out of the brain or supraesophageal ganglia. We shall look into this. So in this figure we can discuss the brain or supraesophageal ganglia very clearly. So here you can see the supraesophageal ganglion, this one, this half is one supraesophageal ganglia and this is half supraesophageal ganglia. The two are connected to each other, and there are very many types of nerves are coming out. What are those nerves? Let us see. So first of all, antennulary nerve. I told you one pair of antennulary nerve they arise from the anterior part of the brain. So here you can see this is the anterior part of the brain which are coming out, antennulary nerve. So here actually it should be shown, but it is not shown here. One branch coming from like this, a branch coming from like this. This is a statocystic nerve which supply to the statocyst. Statocyst, we know that it is a balancing organ. So one antennulary nerve, a branch coming from the antennulary nerve, that is called statocystic nerve, supplies to the statocyst. Then second one is optic nerve. So this is the optic nerve on either side of the esophageal ganglia, a pair of optic nerves coming out, and they innervate the eyes. And then next one is ophthalmic nerve, a pair of ophthalmic nerve just below the optic nerves, they coming out, arising out, and they reach on either side, they reach the stalk of the compound eyes. Then antennary nerve, just below the ophthalmic nerve, a pair of nerves arises and they reach the antenna. Antenna, that means these are the antenna. That's why they are called antennary nerves. And just below that, a single tegumentary nerve is also coming out, and this tegumentary nerve supplies to the labrum or upper lip. So even in this figure also we can clearly see this here. Now a pair of supraesophageal ganglia, these are the supraesophageal ganglia, various nerves are coming out. This is the antennulary nerve, this is the antennulary nerve, okay, and a statocystic nerve branch on either side, antennulary and statocystic nerve branch. Then one pair of antennary, so next optic nerve, so this is the optic, so the nerve going to the direct eyes, optic nerve, and then one pair of ophthalmic nerves are also coming out, and here they are mixed, actually optic and ophthalmic are mixed here, and then antennary nerves are also coming out here, antennary nerve, this is the antennary nerve, going to the antenna, and tegumentary nerve. So here we have we can't see now the upper lip, it supplies to the upper lip, tegumentary. These are the 5 nerves that are coming out from the brain or supraesophageal ganglia. So next, circumesophageal commissures. We already discussed that the brain is comprising 3 parts. One is the central nervous system comprises the 3 parts. One is the brain or supraesophageal ganglia, and circumesophageal commissures, and ventral nerve cord. So second part of the central nervous system is circumesophageal commissures, and a pair of stout nerve cords, they are arising posteriorly from the brain. Posteriorly, stout nerves are coming out, and these are stout nerves, that means the strong nerves, and these run backwards and downwards and encircles the esophagus. After encircling the esophagus, running downwards and backwards, then they unite ventrally with the subesophageal ganglia. Let us have a look here. So we can see here. So here we have seen the brain here, okay, and 2 ganglia, 2 commissures, they are coming out like this. 2 commissures, they are coming out like this here. These are the commissures. Now these commissures, 2 commissures, they are coming out, and these are called the circumesophageal commissures. These run backwards and downwards, and after encircling the esophagus, unite ventrally with the subesophageal ganglia. Then let us discuss the circumesophageal commissures. So these are the circumesophageal commissures. This one is one circumesophageal commissure, this one is circumesophageal commissure. Now they are coming out from the posterior part of the brain here, and they come downwards, they move downwards and backwards, and after encircling the esophagus, unite ventrally with the subesophageal ganglion. This is the subesophageal ganglia. Here the subesophageal ganglion is present, and this subesophageal ganglia, they meet here, they join here, and 2 commissures are crossed over just behind the esophagus by a double bridge of tough connective tissue called the endosternite. Now here we can't see that, but they come out, the 2 commissures are cross over just behind the esophagus by a double bridge of 2 tough connective tissue called the endosternite, and each commissure bears a small commissural ganglion. See this commissural ganglion is present, the small commissural ganglion here, small commissural ganglion is present, right? Then it sends a small nerve to the mandible. So this commissural ganglion sends a small nerve to the mandible here, the mandibular nerve here, mandible. Then a slender transverse connective or commissure. A slender transverse commissure is present here. A slender transverse commissure. So this is the transverse commissure which connects the two commissures, circumesophageal commissures at the posterior part of the posterior end. A transverse commissure is connecting the two esophageal commissures. Now next one is the ventral thoracic ganglionic mass. So this is the ventral thoracic ganglionic mass. Actually this is a part of the ventral nerve cord. So before ventral nerve cord, let us have a first part of the ventral nerve cord. So this is the all through this is ventral nerve cord. So anterior part of the ventral nerve cord is called as the ventral thoracic ganglionic mass. And as the name itself indicates, it is a ganglionic mass. That means it is formed by the fusion of about 11 segmentary ganglia. 11 segmentary ganglia, they fuse to form this ventral thoracic ganglionic mass. And it is present at the anterior part of the ventral nerve cord. It is lying midventrally on the floor of the cephalothorax. And the first among these 11 pairs of nerves, the first 3 pairs are called cephalic nerves. The first 3 pairs are called cephalic nerves. So now we can see here the first 3 pairs of either side. These are the first 3 pairs of cephalic nerves, each one of which they give the mandibular. First one of this cephalic nerves is the mandibular, second one is the maxillary, and the third one is the maxillary. So first one mandibular, the name itself indicates it innervates the mandibles. Second one maxillary, the maxillula innervates maxillula. Maxillary innervates maxilla. So that's why these 3 parts are of the cephalic region. That's why the nerves are called cephalic nerves. The remaining 8 pairs of nerves. So what are the remaining here? The remaining, except these 3, all these are called as the next thoracic nerves. So totally how many of them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So totally 8 thoracic nerves are there. These among the 8 thoracic nerves, first 3 pairs. This is the first 3 pairs. That is, these first 3 pairs, they supply the maxillipedes. They supply the maxillipedes. So the nerves to the 3 maxillipedes, these are supplied. And the remaining 5 pairs are there. These 5 pairs of nerves supply to the 5 pairs of walking legs. Here, one thing we need to know that the nerves which supplying or which innervates the legs, after entering into the legs, they bifurcate. Here you can see all of these nerves, they bifurcate here. So after entering into the legs, they bifurcate. This we need to know. So once again, the ventral thoracic ganglionic mass is first part of the ventral nerve cord. So this is the ventral nerve cord. So this is called the ventral thoracic ganglionic mass. So it is the mass which is formed by the fusion of 11 segmental ganglia in the cephalothoracic region. And among the 11 segmental ganglia, first 3 ganglia, they gives off 3 cephalic nerves, which supply to the mandibles, maxillula and maxilla respectively. And the next 8, among the next 8, first 3 gives rise to the 3 maxillipedes on either side, and next 5 supply to the 5 pairs of walking legs on each, 5 pairs of walking legs equally. And each nerve that innervates the leg, after entering into the leg, it bifurcates. So this is. Next one is the ventral nerve cord. So remaining portion, whatever that is seen in the central nervous system, is ventral nerve cord. So this is the ventral nerve cord. It extends up to the hindgut. It extends up to the hindgut from the posterior part of the ventral thoracic ganglionic mass. So here, from here it is starting and up to till the end part, till the end of the, see, till the end of the telson, that means hind portion, hindgut, it is continuous. So what is this? Let us see. This is called the ventral nerve cord. So this ventral nerve cord has again the segmental ganglia. Totally 6 segmental ganglia we can look here. This is the first segmental ganglia on the ventral nerve cord. This is the second one, third one, fourth one, fifth one, and the sixth one. So among these 6, you can see the sixth one is the largest one. Why it has become largest? Because now we can imagine that the 6th ganglion, segmental ganglion, is the largest because it might have formed because of the fusion of many ganglia. Yes, it is correct. It is formed with the fusion of many ganglia. Thus, it becomes larger when compared to the other abdominal ganglia. So, among the 6 abdominal ganglia, 6th one is the largest because it is formed by several abdominal segmental ganglia. Now, as I told you, from the posterior part of the ventral thoracic ganglionic mass, ventral nerve cord arises and it runs downwards, and mid-ventrally it runs back up to the end of the abdomen, that is hindgut, up to the hindgut. Then here the first 5 abdominal ganglia, you can see here first 5 abdominal ganglia, from each abdominal ganglia, then in that segment 3 pairs of nerve, they are coming out from the abdominal ganglia. 3 pairs of nerves are coming out in each segment. So from the first 5, 3 pairs of nerves. So among the 3 pairs, first pair of nerves are called pedal nerves and they supply to the pleopods. Second pair is extensor nerve, it supplies to the extensor muscles, and the third pair is flexor nerve to the flexor muscles. So in all 5 abdominal ganglia, 3 pairs of nerve coming out to the respective pedal nerve, extensor nerve and flexor nerve respectively. Then lastly, now let us come to the last abdominal ganglia, which is formed by the fusion of many ganglia, many segmental ganglia. Here segmental last or 6th abdominal ganglion, which is formed by the fusion of several ganglia, from which the totally many pairs of nerves are coming out. And what are those? Let us see. It is also called stellate ganglion also. It is also called stellate ganglion. It is comparatively large and it composed of several fused ganglia and supplies to 2 pairs of nerves to the flexor muscles. See here, 2 pairs of nerves, first 2 pairs of nerves. So here you can see these 2 pairs supply to the flexor muscles. Then next 2 pairs, this one, here this one and this one, these nerves to the uropod. Then next 2 pairs nerves to the telson. So here these are the 2 pairs nerves to the telson, and last single nerve to the hindgut. So totally 7 nerves are coming out from the last abdominal ganglia. So among the 7, 1 pair nerves to the flexor muscles and 1 pair nerves to the uropod, 1 pair nerves to the telson and single nerve to the hindgut. Okay, so this is about the ventral nerve cord. Now coming to the third part of the nervous system of Pran, autonomic nervous system or sympathetic nervous system. It is also called autonomic nervous system or sympathetic nervous system, and it is, as it is having a visceral nerves, that's why it is also called visceral nervous system. It consists of a pair of visceral ganglia. Lying one behind the other, and the first ganglion and second ganglion. First ganglion lies like this and second ganglion lies like this. So one behind the other, and the first ganglion joined to the 2 commissural ganglia through a pair of connectives. Figure. So first ganglion joined to two commissural ganglia through a pair of connectives, and second ganglion gives off two pairs of nerves. So one pair of nerve to the walls of esophagus and one pair to the cardiac stomach. So let us see in the figure. So just now we have discussed the sympathetic nervous system or autonomic nervous system. So this portion, this small portion, which makes up the visceral ganglia. A pair of visceral ganglia are present. You can see here in this one and other visceral ganglion. So they are present one behind the other, and each are connected by a small nerve here. And first pair of visceral ganglia, they are connected to commissural ganglia. So these are the commissural ganglia, and they are connected to like this. They are connected to. Okay, and the first pair of visceral ganglia joined to the two commissural ganglia through a pair of connectives. The second ganglion gives off two pairs of nerves. Just now I told you. So second ganglion gives off one pair and second pair. So this is the first pair. So what is the first pair? This first pair to the esophagus. This goes to the esophagus, and this goes to the cardiac stomach. Okay. So this visceral ganglia make up the sympathetic nervous system or autonomic nervous system. So actually, what is the main advantage of this sympathetic nervous system is when compared to the earlier organisms or annelids, the central nervous system or the nerve cells within the arthropods, they confine to the ganglia, and the commissures enclose the processes from these cells by which there is the intercommunication between them is best established. So that means within the central nervous system, the main bodies of the nerve cells or neurons are confined to the ganglia, and whereas in the commissures their processes, that means their axons are present. So because of this, there is a best intercommunication is established, and in this connection or in this point, they show differences with the annelids, where though the cells are more and numerous in the ganglionic swellings, there is no intercommunication is less in the case of annelida. So the mechanism of nervous integration in the crustaceans in general and in the prawn particular naturally shows an advance over that of the annelids, and the pattern of their behavior is at much higher level, indicates a greater degree of coordination in the case of the prawn or in the case of arthropods when compared to the annelids. Thank you.